All right, so Rory, first off, I just wanted to ask like what you know about our project. Like,
So I know, oh, sorry, one more time.
go ahead.
I think address teen stress is about informing teens about the kinds of things that other teens are going through throughout high school and the ways that they deal with stress, the struggles that we all have or share together, and what we can do to inform other people about the stress that we're going through, and then maybe help infect more kids with that kind of uplifted mentality of addressing what it is in your mind that needs to be addressed in order to help you be more successful throughout high school.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a mental health initiative by five girls at Central High School. So there's me, Benica, and then there's three more girls, Audrey, Hannah, and Alicia, which sadly can't be here today. But it's a mental health initiative in order to address teen stress, something that doesn't really get talked about a lot. And by interviewing people and teens like you, we have a Teen Stories Told series where we basically share stories of what teens are going through regarding mental health and just life and just spreading awareness on the topic. So,
I
yeah.
love it.
Okay, so Rory, I'm Vedika Panchal and I'm gonna be taking your interview. And I'm
Nice,
Aba
nice to
Notes.
meet you, Alva. Thank you.
Okay, so first question. So just tell me a little bit about yourself, like your extracurriculars, your goals, passion, your senior, so something about college.
Okay, so my name is Rory Nelor II. I moved to Keller, Texas in eighth grade, so I went to Hillwood, and then I've been at Central all 4 years. I'm currently the senior class president of 2023. I'm the band public relations officer and percussionist. I'm also a charter champion officer and member of NHS Black Student Union and Interact Club.
That's
Um,
amazing. Sorry.
thank you. No, that's my bad. I totally forgot the question for a second.
Um,
So career-wise, I hope to be an aspiring filmmaker. And then I think on the side, I would like to try and do YouTube as well as dancing. I like the more creative outlets. So when it comes to college, I plan to major in film and television production. And then on the side, I would like to just do a few projects of my own that might um, service entertainment purposes and just inform other kids about what it's like to be a Black member of or a Black student in high school going through college as well. And just, yeah.
yeah, so you do a lot of stuff outside and inside of school. So with all of that, what's your POV on mental health?
So mental health for me, as a kid, it wasn't really much of something that I got to talk about or address often, or really rarely ever. I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I moved around quite a bit, but there was never really much time for that kind of talk, or my parents just never really introduced me to it in the first place. To me, mental health is really important because I know that a lot of the stress that I happen to develop or the anxiety that I might get when it comes to my homework assignments, schoolwork, the image that I put out to other people, how I may be perceived. All the thoughts that go into my head are really important and they're powerful. In terms of mental health, I think that it is something that is just really impactful on the human brain, the human body, and the way that I go through life. Taking mental health into account is what really allows me to be more liberated for lack of better words. I feel a lot more free when I get to discuss my mental health, just the POV or state of mind that I'm in at the time and how the rate at which I'm going through things and how I'm going through them. I think that about sums it up. I think mental health is something that like I wish I could define it. I don't know. But I mean it's something that I need to go throughout my days. So
No, that's really good. I'm so glad that like it's actually a priority for you now, especially like knowing everything. So I know that you're the 2023 class high school class senior president. So how have you managed your stress during your current term?
So I think the best thing for me is that I basically get to share my position with nine other students. So we have our four other class officer positions and then our five class representatives. I definitely think it wouldn't be possible for me to be able to do it all on my own. That carrying the weight of that and being able to listen to all the students that are in the senior class is pretty important. Mental health wise, I think it's important that I get to lean on and depend on my other officers, as well as to myself to bring in new creativity, new ideas, provide fun and important projects, community service, and spirit things for the class. I know that at the end of the day, our goal is to all graduate together, have no regrets about our last 4 years spent in high school, and to just positively uplift and promote being able to do it, being able to get through it, and being able to say you succeeded and you can look back on it. That's the memories that I want to be able to create through class president. And mental health being in mind, it's important for us to all know that we have to take that into consideration in order to be able to go through our daily lives. We need to be able to talk about what it is that's affecting us, what stress we're getting with college applications, with scholarships, with just whatever kind of financial background or background in terms of like studies that all of us have. We have to address that in order to be able to get through our senior year, because it's important that we take this time that we have now to grow within ourselves and be able to grow before we get to college, where we will meet other people and basically have to redo the whole thing over again. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I'm so happy that you're so like passionate and caring for your senior class, like especially as a senior. I know some people just want to graduate at this point, so
right.
I'm happy to see that there's still some kind of passion there. So we know that you're a part of a self-taught dancer, like you're a self-taught dancer, and you're a
Yes.
part of a three-member dance group called Three Ever. So can you tell us a little bit about how that's impacted your mental health in like both the positive or even negative way?
Okay, so three ever means a lot to me because it is something I've been dancing since I was a kid. Like as soon as the first Just Dance game came out in elementary school, I was like immediately playing it all the time. I got every single game, and when we moved around a lot as a kid, I that was always something I could take with me. I could always take with me my dance. I never got to pursue it outside of my own interest. Like I never got to take a class. I've never been to any kind of like con or like performing arts school or anything like that. Like it's just something that it's like a hobby that I've taken with me. And the funny thing is that I would be able to turn to whenever I was stressed. I would just go and play Just Dance, and like that would basically take all my stress away. Um, Being a male in liking or enjoying dances as a black male is something that hasn't. Oh, sorry about that. Something that hasn't. Can you also hear me? My phone had 10% for a second there. That's my bad. I should have charged it. So, as an African American student and moving around a lot of the schools that I went to, I always was typically judged for liking to dance and liking to be more expressive and creative. As I got older, and after COVID specifically, becoming a high schooler, I was able to find more people that shared my interests and passions. And I had two members, Olivia and Rachel, that do three ever with me. And they were just like, you've got to not worry about what other people say. If you like doing something, then you just got to do it to the best of your abilities. And without that group, I wouldn't have been able to, I don't think I'd be nearly as expressive and as happy and as like um, devoted as I am now. I'm really passionate about dancing and I really like enjoy doing it. Mental health wise, I used to get a lot of like not really hate, but a lot of people just used to kind of look on it like, why are you dancing? And that was something that kind of held me back for a while. But I think being able to say it's only my judgment that matters, I think that's really, really I think that's really like affected the way that I think about myself and the way that other people perceive me. And if they see that I like dancing and I'm good at it, then at that point it's like, okay, well, it's great. And so since I've been able to join that and do that, I feel a lot more free, I guess I could say, a lot more free, a lot more creative, expressive. I hope that one day I can continue sharing it with more people, and people that like that sort of niche thing can go and support or feel more inspired to do it themselves as well. Um, yeah, that's kind of how Three Ever has impacted my mental health.
Yeah, no, hearing all of that, I genuinely so glad that you like got the outlet, got the people around you, and you have the platform to express your passion now. And
Thank you.
so, yeah, so like especially like the dancer, the class president, the all the clubs you're in, and especially as a senior in this generation, how do you prioritize your mental health?
So one thing I'm pretty bad at, if you would ask most people, is prioritization. And typically that's kind of been a lot of the reason that I've developed stress over the last 4 years. Originally, it was about like making good grades and like, going into high school, trying to be like a good kid, make sure other people like me, that kind of thing. COVID hit, and then we went off the grid for a while, and then we came back and it was like, oh shoot, like we basically got to do it all over again. So with prioritization, I think I felt that expressing myself through things like dance, through things like being social, through things like public speaking, that's kind of been my way of dealing with the mental part of it. When I turn to those things, I typically don't feel like I've got a lot of eyes watching me. And no one ever said I ever did, but I think originally I placed a lot of like doubt on myself, and I placed a lot of other people's opinions on myself, thinking that I needed to conform or thinking that I needed to do things to fit in with everyone else, when I think individuality is a lot more purposeful than it than I originally thought it was. So in that way, I've been able to kind of turn to the things, the creative outlets that I do have. And that's my way of saying I've just got to let it go. I've got to just be myself at all times. Prioritizing my mental health is, I think that expression is how I do that. So whenever it comes to like schoolwork, I'll get my schoolwork done, and then I'll go be creative on the weekends, and I'll try to do different things that make me feel happy and comfortable with being in my own body and being in my own skin and being able to express myself to my friends and all the students that I'm around all the time. Um, Schoolwork wise, I mean, I think when it came to schoolwork, originally I was focused on, like I said, I was focused on the things that tried to set me apart, or really that made me fit in with other students. And later on, when I began to feel more creative and expressive about what I did, schoolwork just kind of, I would say, it just kind of came at its own sort of prioritization status. It's hard to describe that, but originally I would like overload myself. I would try to distract myself from my passions by giving myself a lot of heavy course load and assignments and classes and stuff like that. And originally it seemed like a good idea. It didn't really work very well, but I found that after I turned to the things that I felt made me stand out from other students, like the public speaking, like the dancing, that's when it became more of like better for me. So tying back to what I said earlier, mental health prioritization for me was typically within the creative outlets that I got to have and that I was able to do and build up on, and then schoolwork kind of followed, kind of like followed in afterwards. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that you found your school passion balance, because that's really important in like, today's day. So as you said before, you dance as a outlet, like a stress coping outlet.
Right.
What else do you use? Like, what are your other coping mechanisms?
My other coping mechanisms, I like video editing, hence wanting to be a filmmaker. I like that I get to use my voice to speak to other people and touch the lives of other students. And things like Charger Champions and Class President, I talk to a lot of people. And there's been a lot of times where I've had to talk to a large group of people. And I feel like expressing myself through communication, something as simple as that, is something I can turn to whenever I feel like I might be too in my head about things. I just talk to other people and they talk to me back, and realize that we might share the same kind of common thoughts or ideas about things. That makes me feel a lot more accepted. That makes me feel a lot more in tune with other people. And that makes me feel like I reduced my stress a little bit because I got to meet someone who had or might have had the same experiences that I've had. So public speaking is something that is a different outlet that I might turn to. And then that kind of plays into filmmaking, because whenever I talk to other people or whenever I create video, like a digital media kind of platform, I can express my thoughts through that um, platform, and I can use that to show people what I mean or how I see the world or how they see the world. And I think that's a really important aspect of it, because allowing people to see things from your point of view really opens your eyes and broadens your ideas and views on just the way that the world works, the way that people experience things, and the way that we share our experiences, I think is really important. So through digital media and filmmaking, I think both of those things are something that really helps me to feel like I've relieved my stress, feel like I've been able to kind of express my mental stress with other people. And I like it a lot whenever people can come back and be like, yeah, this really helped me, because I feel like something you touched base on is something that I've been impacted by for a really long time. And I think that that provides me like the utmost sense of comfort.
Yeah, no, it's so nice to see that you've found like your healthy passions, your healthy coping mechanisms, and everything. So, since you have experimented somewhat, like you've tried this, didn't work, you've tried this, now it's working, like you're on a roll and it's getting better. So, lastly, what advice would you give to someone who is struggling with their mental health, or even to your younger self?
To my younger self, I think it would really just be about broadening your perspective or like widening the way that you think. I don't know. Originally, I think I was so, I want to say sheltered, or I tried really hard to conform. And that didn't work for me. And it made me feel worse about myself. And if there's freshmen or if there's eighth graders going into freshman year, a lot of the time I think that they'll feel like they need to conform to the standards of other people because that's what's in, that's what's cool, that's what makes you fit in. And I don't think life is really about fitting in. I think coming through the last 4 years and being a senior now, life is more about standing out and how you can help others to stand out because everyone is an individual and we all have our own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. But it's important that we listen to each other and communicate and work together to make bigger tasks come together and like be creative with that. Like band wise, I found that originally I wasn't talking as much and I didn't know a lot of the older people and I felt like they didn't know me because they didn't bother to go and reach out or anything like that. But I think since then I've made the attempt to go and touch other kids' lives by speaking to them, asking them how their day is going, asking them how they feel, um, just about being in high school. So when you communicate with others, when you take the time to kind of listen to um, the important things or listening to people that might help you or listening to other people's experiences, you're broadening your perspective. And when you're allowing yourself to think that I don't need to do this to fit in, I can actually just be comfortable with the way that I am, the way that I think, the things that I do, that'll take you a lot further than wanting to be like everyone else. I think that is something that might not be talked about enough in high school. And even if it is considered cliche, I think it's really important in order to not have to like distinguish yourself. But I think that's something that really helps you feel comfortable in who you are. And when you find that group of people that accepts you for who you are, then that makes it even better. So, of
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've
course,
seen school, I've seen your passion, I've seen your confidence, and it's been a good pleasure like interviewing you and seeing the insight.
thank you. I'm
Abba,
really
do
glad.
you Thank you. Abba, do you have any more questions?
Um, I don't have any more questions. I think you answered it pretty well, pretty like, but I was wondering, first of all, if you could send us some pictures for your post, like just
Yes.
one picture and then some of you in action, like either dancing or taking up like, being a leader. And then also this is might be a little weird, but like a line, like a silly line or something, for
Yeah.
your I don't know if you've seen our like
Yeah,
post.
I have.
Some of them like silly lines. Like for the last one, it was somebody liked like having strawberries on their bagel or something. I don't know. He said like they are a mustard advocate. Somebody can do animal voices, like something like that. A line for your like description. And then also like either tomorrow or some other day during this week, if we could like meet up for 5 seconds to take a picture with our sign. A
Yes.
sign. So yeah.
Sounds perfect. Yes, I can absolutely do that.
Lastly, Betica's gonna take a picture of this. Is that okay with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, ready? Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
That's all. You did great. Thank you so much for being here. We really enjoyed interviewing you and sharing your story. Do you have any questions for us?
No,
All right, that sounds good. If you have any questions later on, then you can always text me or DM address to stress. So yeah, thank you for coming and
thank
interviewing.
you. Thank you guys so much. I love